Welcome, comrades, to episode 135 of the Postmodern Polymath Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and next to me virtually is Zach from Zachary Joel. How's it going? Zachary Cast. How's it going, Zach?
Well, we have a delirium nocturnum, which is a good start, and then the Dragon's Milk Reserve peanut butter chocolate.
Here you come.
I didn't. I went shopping and I got the usual stuff, my usual suspects: the Backwood Bastard, the Dragon's Milk, the delirium, the barrel aged quad that I like to have with pizza because it's all about pairing. But then on the shelves, I saw a whale. Now, there really isn't such a thing as whales with beer anymore. I mean, there kind of is, but there aren't. There used to be beers like Kentucky was KBS that you would see in the store and would be gone in no time. And so this beer was a barrel-aged version of that Untitled Art peanut butter and chocolate stout. And I had actually looked up on the website of this place and they didn't show that they had it, but they had like 6 bottles of it. So I got one and I'm bringing it up, and it's an actual bomber that's, I think, bomber size. It's actually like 2 beers. And it was pretty expensive. So I'm really interested. I should bring, because I got a couple of these left, like for comparison, because this is good. That Ology that I had, the peanut butter chocolate, it wasn't barrel aged. It was like 12%. And that was the booziest. It tasted so boozy, and it was one of those 8-ounce cans, but it really was you did not need more of that.
That was good.
Sadly, I have not seen it anywhere since that one time.
I see it sitting in the cooler at Main Street Liquors. I'll see it.
Yeah. See if I do come up to Nashville this weekend, I might need to figure out some new bottle shops, because I always go. It's like Frugal McDougal's, Cork Dorks. There's a place by I can't remember the mall. And you mentioned a place like in Murfreesboro. I know I stopped at a place like off the interstate, and it had a bunch of. I mean, any place you go to, for the most part, in Tennessee is cool to see, because they usually have a lot of stuff they don't have here. That's why I like stopping there. There's a place that's just south of the border near Chattanooga is a bottle shop that I really like, and they usually have. That's that place that has what was the beer you like? The one that's really bitter, Old Raspy. There's like Old Raspy, and they have like old cans of I think it was that stout that had like from like 2012. Which was it's fun to see. I don't know. It used to be fun to get beers that were like, oh, this is a 2015 version. And then you have it, and you're like, it's just a beer. It's been sitting on the shelf for 6 years. So aging is
for your enlightenment. Check out Main Street Liquors down there in East Nashville, on Main Street. And I don't know if you've ever been to Red down there in Bellevue. It's a bit of a hike. Well, it's further than you're used to, maybe, but their selection has always been solid. So if you're wanting to do a little spreading out, maybe.
Well, I don't know. It's when I initially thought about coming to visit my parents, it was like I'd just come see them and then just stay. And then things were opening up, and now it seems like with all the Delta variant stuff going on, it's like, you know what? I think I'm keeping my mask, and
I wear my mask.
The unnecessary like socializing. I mean, the only thing that was good about being in jury duty this week was that they enforced masks and everybody wore one. And like people wearing face masks too in some cases. It was weird because it seemed like a throwback, because like a month ago, everybody stopped wearing masks in public. Like it just ended.
Or some people never did.
Well, some people did, but it used to be if I went to the grocery store, it was like 90% of people wearing masks. Now it's 90% of people aren't wearing masks.
People are so stupid. All right, well, I don't want to waste your time with minutia that we will
we
will hash out later.
Yeah, I went to, what was it? starting shit to get clicks or to get friends? Is that what we're gonna do?
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Is there any shit to be started?
I mean,
Is there anyone who's gonna care about starting shit?
yeah, nobody gives a shit. So, yeah, it's old. It's kind of old news at this point, I guess. But it's still the effects are not any less forceful for that. I mean, okay, so the article specifically that we're going to kind of go from and kind of go out from is this one from Phil Torres, who is one of the few white atheist guys who isn't going to turn into the dark side of grifting for the far right, I guess, or grifting for you know.
Seems like he's actually like sort of an academic.
Yeah, he's more of an academic type.
Not the kind of academic like Sam Harris who has like a fake like here's what I'm into, and then everything I talk about's nowhere near my expertise area. Seems like he actually has receipts. You know, I like it when people have receipts.
So the name of the article, and of course, people want to bitch about the name of the article. Godless grifters: How the New Atheists Merged with the Far Right. Now, maybe it's not. It's a clickbaity headline. Okay, that's fair. Go read the fucking article before you start talking shit, you dumbass motherfuckers. And some of them. Sorry, I'm coming out.
I think some people definitely reacted strong to the title, but that's, I don't know, it's almost internet culture. And I actually don't blame the salon people because, yeah, they were going for something a little salacious, but at the same time,
if they do it, I want people. People should know this anyway.
If
you write articles for shit, you don't get to pick they can pick the time.
That's true.
So he could have said, no, don't make this. And they're like, fuck you, fucking Dawkins, and fuck them all. It could have been the headline, you know, I mean. He wouldn't have had control over that. So.
I can't imagine there's anyone who still follows like Richard Dawkins on social media and doesn't at least say, well, I like him, but there's got to be a but in there.
He just can't.
Because he doesn't go from like the old guy who is tone deaf. Like he literally like is anti-trans. I mean, that's just pretty straightforward. And plus a lot of this comes from, so the people involved in this don't always have a lot of skin in the game. Like if you're this white straight dude and you're talking about trans issues and you're talking on your ass, nothing bad's going to happen to you because of that, but bad things are going to happen to marginalized people.
Well, of course,
and the non-marginalized should consider that a little bit, but that doesn't happen. It's like, you know, him, I think, endorsing a book that was like anti-trans, and it was based on shoddy research because that's all the anti-trans side is shoddy research that sounds really scary, you know.
And there's plenty of research that refutes whatever claims they're making. They just fucking convenient.
No,
I don't. I've never seen any evidence anywhere. I'm looking everywhere but right in front of me. I'm sorry, what? I didn't see it. All right. So the whole point of this article, this theme of this is that, the three main dudes in this article is Harris, Dawkins, and Pinker are the ones they're talking about. And then we already know about Sam Harris that started buddying up to people on the, you know, like Charles Murray, fucking IQ guy who thinks black people are inferior mentally by nature.
Yeah, he's big on the IQ and skull size thing, which is another thing Colette's really big into. Like, if you really want to get into it, check out the Polite Conversations. She has a series called Woking Up, and she has receipts. And also, after this article came out, Ina did an episode on Polite Conversations. It basically had all the receipts that even went beyond this article for like the kind of stuff when people are like, they're not really merging with the far right. It's like, well, what about Stephen Molyneux? And what about the Murray twins? They're not twins, I don't think. The Douglas Charles. They just are terrible.
They're asshole. I mean, they're two white guys. It's practically the same.
Yeah. But I think they're British, so they have that accent, and I don't know why people fall for that accent. Like, after the whole Sargon of Akkad thing, I'm like, Do people just like automatically assume anybody with a British accent is smart? Because the stuff that guy says is so consistently. I mean, even Ben Shapiro would not be able to say the stuff that guy said and like with a straight face. And he's pretty much given up on any integrity.
Well, and this is we're talking about the merging, right?
Yeah.
So I said those three, but he also brings up Shermer. Everybody loves Shermer, don't they?
Oh gosh.
The rapist guy who fucking thinks it's funny, and of course he's on the anti-woke train. He's a libertarian fuckstick.
Wasn't he another one? There was that like international is like the IAA group. Like they hired David Silverman, then they had to fire him, and then I think they had Shermer on recently, and Shermer was just yelling at everybody. It didn't even matter who they were.
No, wait, Sherlock. You're talking
Yeah,
about
oops.
Sherlock.
That is an important distinction. I mean, they both seem to be assholes, but Sherlock is, as far as I know, has never been like accused of any kind of sexual inappropriate.
He went
He just.
And Michael Sherlock used to.
It's like the kind of approach that might have worked in like 2014, but can't we get better in 7 years? I don't think we can, but based on the leaders
they don't have.
We still. Well, that's true.
And I think that's probably one of the bigger themes. They don't have to get better because nobody's pushing them to get better because they have a bubble. They have white guys telling them it's okay to say what the fuck they're saying. Okay, let me get not too deep in the weeds on that.
Yeah.
Lawrence Krauss is another one. Everybody loves Lawrence Krauss before he fucking started. Well, he probably was, and people still didn't care. White dudes didn't care about it. Lawrence Krauss, of course, everybody knows he's fucking molesting and raping people, and he got fired from the Origins Project or whatever the fuck.
I remember one of the comments about the story was like, it said that these were grifters, and like, well, Lawrence Krauss isn't a grifter. And it's like, I mean, I guess you don't tick all the boxes, but I don't. I don't really know. I feel like. He has a level of expertise about physics. But you know what? There are a bunch of other people who could talk about it who have not had the issues that he's had. I can guarantee it. It's just people are lazy and they know his name. Like they know the name Richard Dawkins. You can find other people who can talk about it. It's fine. We don't need the mentality of like the four horsemen and the leaders. It's like if you have a leader or a hero in this community, you're probably going to be really sorry at some point because you're going to find out some bad stuff.
Now, of course, we're talking about the old heads, right? We're talking about the OGs. We're not talking about the nowadays. We're not talking about the fresh blood. James Lindsay is the fresh blood, man. He is like at the forefront of the anti-wokist crusade, man. He's going to make everything cool. He's going to make sure nobody's made fun of for no fucking reason. Nobody gets canceled. White guys are looked at and appreciated like they should be. Amen, James.
Well, it's the anti-cancel, but then like people who are against you, he's definitely trying to cancel. Like this anti-CRT stuff.
Oh, that's what you will.
I mean, he wants people like. It seems like he's at the point where he wants people killed. Like, it feels like the concept is. These people are so bad on the left that we have to just do something drastic about it. Like they are so bad. Like they are so much worse than the right. I'm not sure how. It's in somebody's mind. They create these boogie monsters. Like they don't know what to do. But they're like, yeah, the left has to be treated harshly because I mean it's kind of like, the racist white people are probably scared because they're like, oh God, what if marginalized people treat us the way we've been treating them? Yeah, that would be really bad. Yeah. So we need to like cut this off. So we need to like hire someone from the Heritage Foundation, which is like, people are like, oh, I want to Google something. It's like if you Google like critical race theory, you're going to get a lot of really bad anti-critical race theory stuff that's going to pop up.
Because it's nobody knows what the fuck it is. That's part of the problem.
Sadly, we say like truth has a liberal bias. It's like, well, it seems like searching for things has a conservative bias, a reactionary bias. I mean, the whole point of conservatism is conserving what exists, and people fight really hard to not change anything. They fight so hard that they create, Confederate statues in the 60s to just maintain their power base.
So James Lindsay, right? And the only reason he just, because Aaron Rabinowitz from Embrace the Void, who is one of the good ones, I must say. He always is shitting all over James,
Yeah.
as well as he should be, because it's just not even. He's got this show. I forgot what it's called.
Was it New Discourses or something? I mean, he's working with like right-wing Christian groups.
Yeah, and he's talking.
I mean, they are bankrolling whatever it is he's doing. Like after the whole weird penis hoax thing he had.
Yeah, that was stupid. Conceptual penis.
Unfortunately, I feel bad about in this one aspect about Thomas Smith because he had him on a long time ago, and then James just went off the deep end.
Well, yeah, I do remember. And
I remember like a debate like James Lindsay and Eli Bosnick had, and there was something about like the Disney crows and how like James Lindsay was saying they weren't racist or something, and it was just really bad. I just remember there was like some CRT debate. It was him and Peter Boghossian debating a guy who knew what he was talking about, and James Lindsay just had. I don't know. There's something about right-wing reactionaries. He had like the Tucker Carlson confused face like the entire time. And I'm like, if you're supposed to be an expert on something, which he's not, he's the mathematician, I think.
Yeah, he's not. It's funny how
when he talks, he does this buzzword thing, but it doesn't make any sense. But most people don't know what he's talking about. So they think, well, he's smart. And it's just really terrible. It's like, trying to take down gender studies by creating a fake paper, which didn't actually get picked up. Like they didn't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, the bar's so low for some reason on the right. It's like you can fail all the time and say things that are clearly false, but as long as you're quote unquote owning the libs, you win.
Yeah,
that's all. He seems like he's just a troll now because I feel like I see this avatar picture of him with like a freaking sword, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like you're just a cartoon character.
Yeah, they are.
And I guess maybe that'll last. I feel like those things don't have a big half-life. Like maybe sometime he's going to be like Milo Yiannopoulos and he's going to be like going super Christian in about 5 years. But I don't know.
No, I think this is going to be an ongoing thing. It's going to get
sadly.
The reason I say that is because white people are on a decline as a general. Well, I mean,
I know.
Literally, because the rates, they're going to be
minority. So close.
They're going to be minority in the country in like whatever it is. I forgot, 2050 or something like that, right? And people are starting to see through their shit, so they're getting a lot more defensive, and they're getting a lot bolder. Of course, Trump is a. I don't know that he's a symptom of it. I don't even think, to be honest, this shit's been going on for a while. And Trump was made from the Republicans made Trump, so he didn't come out of nothing. But
well, you know what the Republicans do well? They embrace the outsider and like put them into the Borg. Like in 1980, when Reagan won, he was an outsider. Of course, he had been governor of California. I don't know how much of an outsider he was. Trump really was an outsider in 2016, but it was a weird like circus. I mean, I kind of wanted it to be, okay, let's have the establishment. Let's have Hillary, let's have whatever, Ted Cruz, and then let's have Trump, and then let's have Sanders, and give people choices. But of course, we ended up with what we had, and that was terrible. And Trump was this outsider that everybody hated, and then he got in, and everybody's like, cool, now we can get Supreme Court justices and federal judges. We're cool. And then this weird, like, conservative counterculture Lincoln Project Midas touch stuff bulwark is out there, which probably would all want us dead, but not maybe nicer. And they're against this, but they're not really. It doesn't seem like they're really against it. I don't know. It's a confusing political time because you're like, is anyone actually progressive because it seems like everybody's got like this regressive card in their pocket somewhere.
It's so polarized at this point. It doesn't seem like there's much wiggle room between. I don't know, man. It's either you're fucking.
So have you had this before?
No, I haven't. I told you I hadn't.
This is the previous one. The new one is the vanilla. So the peanut butter might not be in stores anymore.
So
I have like one
bring
left.
That peanut butter with you.
I should save it.
No, you shouldn't.
It's
a gift for me. It's a gift. Look, I'm losing weight, man. Look, I can't.
I know. I'm gonna reverse this thing. I'm like, hey, let's have some hot chicken and beer.
Hot enough, I can't eat it anyway, so it won't matter. So I wanted to read this little quote that was in this article, which I thought was fucked up. Peter Boghossian said this in an interview with the Epic Times, which is not a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing, but it's like a fucking cult. It's a Falun Gong thing.
Times, yeah, they are. You know, if you check out anything progressive, the ads you'll get before them are they're usually like Heritage Foundation, PragerU type stuff. And Epic Times is like this weird like cult that's against the Chinese government. So people are like bankrolling, they're like sending newspapers to people. Like, sorry, I interrupted. You go ahead.
No,
I'll mute for a second, let you talk.
No, it's
for
just
once.
Peter Boghossian. Oh, shut up. Whatever. Peter Boghossian said this, and he said, "I'm done playing. I'm waging full-scale ideological warfare against the enemies of Western civilization, which we all know is white supremacy code language." Okay, that's all it is.
Didn't Boghossian basically lose his job at a institution because he was just trying to like have sex with his students and got in trouble? I mean, it seems like that's what happened.
But then we must.
He's not too far from like the Weinsteins, no.
Well, no, of course not. We must
professional
absolutely
victim.
Zero tolerance with this ideology, and the only way forward at this point is full-scale ideological war. Ideological war, and I will take no prisoners. I seek the complete eradication and extirpation of the ideology from every facet of life. That sounds a little extreme. I mean, call me crazy.
Well, he made a comment after that article came out, and he was talking about like all of the like right-wing atheists who were, I can't remember what the board, maybe they were Atheists for Liberty. I don't even know what it was, but they were just like, yeah, everybody's calling us these like sexist, terrible people. And I'm like, yeah, you're pretty much telling everybody what you are openly. You just want, like, you know, as the whole David Silverman thing, like he just wanted to talk at conferences and have people throw women at him. Like that's all he wanted to do. He was totally fine with it. And then it got cut off and he got mad and then he decided to be a right-wing reactionary. And it turned out he was a third-rate version of that. And the thing he was with American Atheists, he was better at. Unfortunately, that ended because he made it happen. I mean, he got plenty of chances and he just like, he didn't care.
He believed he's just so self-centered. He's believed his own press, I guess. I mean,
we need to these people who get a bit of an ego because they like have a popular podcast, that usually goes bad places.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up, Zach.
Usually. Some people.
Some instances, there has been a little bit pushback to this article. Now, let's go ahead and just...
You don't say.
Let's just go ahead and I would go ahead and what's the word they say? I will give you that not every atheist, and I don't believe I need to say this, it's not saying every atheist ever conceived in the planet is this way. Not all atheists. Hashtag not all atheists. Okay. But some y'all...
Most.
But some y'all want to act like it's like a personal indictment. And I would actually agree with what you just said, but that's just me. Some people want to act like it's a personal indictment on them, or somehow is an indictment on the atheist culture. I'm not... The problem is I don't know what it is. Are they saying all atheists are this way, and this is what I guess this is what bothers me the most, is because this line of reasoning sounds eerily similar to not all, all lives matter, or not all men, or some shit like that, right? So instead of trying to acknowledge the problem as it exists and try to fight it on that, and fight it on those terms, they want to try to act like it's not a real thing, and that only these certain bad people are doing it, and that's not a widespread problem in the entire movement. And I think that's just, you're being blind, purposely or otherwise, or because you have self-interest in being blind.
Well, man, I think I actually got a reply today on Twitter from Dan Arrow. Remember, you and Dan had some issues before, but somehow you guys made up.
That wasn't good fun.
He said they seem to often confuse skepticism with just being contrarian. Like, I think there's this thing, like being an atheist was this like badge of honor people had, and it was like this bored white guy mentality, like, oh, I'm going to show these religious people what's what. And then after a while, it turned out that just wasn't that interesting. So it's like, well, let's attack feminism. And then, like, what was it? The Amazing Atheist. There were all these people who jumped on board, like all the people who ended up getting very big speaking parts on the last couple of MythCons before they went all the way the other way. Yeah. Guys like Jack Prosobiec, they're like inviting and just kissing the ass of like terrible, obvious liar people. But it was just like, yeah, we have to attack this. So now we're going to attack feminism. Now we're going to attack wokeism, and we're going to compare it to it's a religion, which, it's funny when religious people call atheists like things they do a religion. So that just basically says, does that mean a religion is bad? But someone who's been attacking religion all their lives, they got to make this into this religion. Like the woke people have this unified front. Have you seen Twitter and Facebook? People do not agree on like anything. So that's not going to happen. Like a unified left, even center in America is like a pipe dream. So you can get over this boogeyman that's forcing people to like actually learn real history, because now all the state legislatures in the South and our states and many are going against that. They've gerrymandered. They've basically, one of the reasons why all this QAnon stuff is going through is because we've defunded our public schools so much that people aren't learning anything. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's from a district maybe 10 miles from me, she just like a month ago was like, oh, I just found out about the Holocaust. It's like, oh, really? But all that QAnon stuff is totally trustworthy. Like, I don't trust Fauci and the science of vaccines, but this thing I read on this website, Epoch Times or whatever, that sounds good. The Heritage Foundation, Chris Rufo getting his ass handed to him on a regular basis, but people still think he's this genius. And he's just this weird, privileged white dude making probably $500,000 a year, passing all his heritage. Like, there's a lot of money in right-wing think tanks. And apparently, they used to just be about conservatism, and now they're about crazy taking down, making anything other than this very whitewashed version of America just not palatable to anybody.
Go figure. So
consider it like this way: like, people have been doing like the anti-trans things, and they've been so like, protect women's sports, we must protect women's sports. They don't give a shit about women's sports. The U.S. soccer team lost their opener in the Olympics, which should not be happening, by the way. And everybody just went after them because, oh, they protest, they took a knee, we hate them. Like, where was your love for women's sports? Every time it comes up, they're like, oh, the trans women have an advantage in like sporting events. I'm like, there's actually like zero examples of that really happening. So yeah.
I don't know.
But it becomes this like strange, like all of a sudden you care about this thing you've never cared about. And then like it's coming from somewhere else. Like when the anti-woke podcasters who we know, and now there are too many to even count. It's like, oh, where'd you get your stuff from? It wasn't from other atheists. It was from the Heritage Foundation. It was from Ben Shapiro. It was from Candace Owens. It was from some even worse people who are doing very well.
That's unfortunately how it usually works.
Can we visit the Daily Wire studio? Because, I'm sure that's...
You know what?
They probably have a campus.
This is all
right?
I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say. Okay. There is a huge billboard in Nashville of Candace. I'm not going to say it. Candace Owen. And it says the uncancelable on the billboard. And I've never wanted to destroy something more in my entire life, Zach. It's a negative emotion. It's very destructive. I don't care, man. It's fucking infuriating. I'm telling you, man, this whole woke.
Yeah, she had this tweet recently. It was like, hey, the government's giving you a free vaccine. How come they don't give free insulin and free everything else? And I was like, so are you in favor of universal health care? I don't think so.
They own themselves with this shit, right? They're like, think they're getting, oh, look, I got them. No, you dumb fuck. That's what we want, you ignorant. Yeah. Okay. So to get back to the point of some podcasters wanting to getting their panties in a wad because, nothing against panties, by the way, because some atheists, I guess, atheist bad name, the good name of atheism somehow was being bad, like it was a personal attack on them as an atheist because somebody said atheists were merging with the far right or whatever the fuck, right? And that really irritated. That shows blind. That shows some sort of privilege blindness, right? Like you're not even considering the other people in the situation. Why are they saying it? They're not saying it's not in a vacuum, right? There's a reason people are saying these kind of things, right? And it's mostly people of color, women, especially women who are harassed insanely at these fucking things. I mean, go ask fucking anybody who's had to deal with Silverman or fucking Shermer, any of those fuckers, right? They know what the fuck's going on. So no, nobody is saying that you, as a personal atheist, is a bad person. Okay, calm the fuck down. But it is instructive that when somebody said that, the first thing that you did was go on the defensive because you know that there is a problem in the community. You just didn't ever want to fucking acknowledge it. And especially in certain circumstances, in certain podcasts that make a lot of money off atheists, you're not too keen on fucking rocking the boat because you might lose some Patreon support. But, let me drink some beer or tea.
Well, that was the panel on the Polite Conversations when she had a bunch of people on to talk about it. And almost every one of them was like, yeah, anytime I started talking about any kind of like leftist, progressive type stuff, I would lose Patreons. I would lose followers. There's definitely a right-wing atheist aspect of things. And, as most disposable income, the white boys, and, they don't like having bad things said about them. And especially when they're podcast content creators and they act like they're being really attacked when someone's just criticizing them. You got to be able to take criticism. I mean, it was that Matthew the Apostle guy who was like, you shouldn't do the circular like firing squad. And it's like, you mean,
why did you have to
if you don't bring up bad things happening in your own community, aren't you just as bad as like the Catholic Church who was like, oh, thousands of dead kids in Canada? It was gone from the news in a week. Everybody forgot about all those bodies that were found in no time because we just didn't don't talk about that. A lot of people, when the Silverman stuff came out, the Krause stuff came out, they were just like, well, don't talk about that because that makes us look bad. It's like, well, it makes us look human. Like, that's the thing. People do make mistakes, but to call what people were
how does it make
to even
any
call it a mistake to like just let people get away with things, because like, isn't that just how basically there's no consequence? It's okay to have no consequences if you're on the right, but on the left you have to have consequences. Like, the whole Al Franken thing. Like, I think he legitimately should have been taken out of office, but I don't see a lot of people on the right being treated that way. Like Matt Gaetz, why is he still in office? Like Jim Jordan, like these people are they're not just bad politicians. They're literally criminals.
Well, that's never been that's never been a barrier.
And like Rand Paul going after Dr. Fauci. It's like, dude, you're not even like really a doctor yourself.
Such an idiot.
You should stop. It's like all you're doing is taking people out of context. And you know what? When you look back, Fauci looked like he didn't do good work in the 80s regarding the AIDS situation. So, he's not a god or a hero, but compared to everybody else, he's been trying to do the best he can in a bad situation.
I didn't know that, actually, and I'd be interested to find some more about that. But in this particular circumstance, he owned his toupee ass. Rand's toupee.
But even though he did, like, there were still lots of people going, "Ooh, he got him." And there's that Madison Cawthorn guy who is such an obvious sham, saying that, "Oh, when the Republicans take over the House, they're going to put Fauci in bars." Like, it's not enough for your opponents to be wrong. They have to go to jail. Like, they started that with the whole Hillary Clinton, like, lock her up. It's like, has she been locked up? Anyone associated with her been locked up? But, people associated with Trump are going down left and right. I mean, nothing will ever happen to him. But it was like one of his partners for being like a foreign agent to the United Arab Emirates recently. Tom Barrack. He must have hired him because his last name was
wrong. Barrack.
Close. Yeah.
Damn it! I said Barack, not Barrack.
I mean, there's that embarrassing video that came out with like Trump fake firing a Barack Obama impersonator. It was so bad. But it was like he couldn't handle it. And Barack Obama, he had such opportunities and did not do so much for America. But compared to what's been happening lately, he's a relative saint. A war criminal, but also a saint. You have to be a war criminal.
To be president of the United States of America, you pretty much have to be a fucking war criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your personal thought on this whole thing with white dudes acting whitely as regards to, atheists kind of getting in bed with kind of the more rightist, anti-wokest elements or whatever?
Well, I think at this point I'm beyond disappointment. I just know that some people, want to keep their like livelihoods going and doing a show that doesn't hit on political stuff. I mean, that's the thing, like the Puzzle and a Thunderstorm, like they keep adding shows, but they don't really almost ever get involved in what's happening. Like every once in a while, they're like, yeah, we're against the, really bad people, but they don't talk about it because I think that's part of the business plan. And maybe with like certain shows, the show should be comedy, they should be entertaining. But at the same time, you have to kind of like acknowledge what's happening. And I don't think it's being too like, I'm overreacting to anything. I do feel like at times it can be like there's this weird personal beef going on between people that has happened for years. But people do, if you're not this like white male straight character, you're gonna get attacked a little more. And I don't think people are sensitive to that as much as they should be. That it's not easy. When people are like, hey, the atheist community awesome is awesome, and then it's like, hey, remember when that rationality rules guy pretty much decimated them, and then it's all forgotten. And then that little thing we're having on Facebook with someone having the exact same argument that caused that problem, where somebody's like, well, I'm just asking questions. Why are trans women getting involved in like there's no actual example behind it, and it's just
I'm
people
not.
being mad.
It's sea lion.
Being mad about stuff that doesn't happen. Like, you remember like the last reason, well, maybe I don't think you were at the last Reason Con. I don't know. Anyway, that was when
that was the reclamation of my honor.
that was when the law in like North Carolina with trans people was happening, and people still go with the line of like a guy pretending to be trans and going to a bathroom and assaulting women when it's all stalls in women's bathrooms, and it's just a lie. It's just a lie to like scare people, and it puts people in danger, and it makes me mad that this community is about like sometimes, I got to have this popular podcast thing, and I got to keep, we got to keep the status quo going. Why is the status quo good? It seems like it's pretty bad for most people. We just had a couple of billionaires go to space in penis-shaped rockets and like thank the people that they stepped on the way up. Like and then it was this whole capitalism is good and socialism is bad. Like, well, actually the Russians were kind of the socialists and they got the space first, but really our space program was socialist. It was taking all this tax money and coming together and of course giving money to private enterprise.
He got there, what?
Yeah.
50, literally.
He got government money to do it.
50 years ago, we landed on the fucking moon with worse technology, with older technology. And people doing calculations on paper in their head and shit. But somehow, oh wow, look, some fucking rich dude who exploited labor and basically probably made people pee in bottles, went to the goddamn edge of space.
I mean, how much training do you think he actually did for that? He like tried on a couple of different space suits and that was it. And he got into a seat and he sat down. Everybody gave him the love. The whole like Elon Musk hosting Saturday Night Live, I was like, what? You look into the kind of stuff he's like the weird Hyperloop thing in Vegas was just like, every idea he has seems like it's not that good. He's stealing like other people's ideas. If you're a billionaire, you have basically stolen so many people's labor. I mean, there was a story recently. It was like at a restaurant. They decided to like give all the money to the employees that they made that night, and everybody made like $78 an hour. It's like, so without just giving money to owners, people could make a living? Huh? Weird concept. Let's not do that. I mean, you see, like
much like communism.
If you drive by, fast food restaurants now in Georgia with our exciting $7.50 an hour, minimum wage, it's like people are trying
25 cents more.
People are trying to give, it's like $11 to start at a McDonald's, and it's like that's a start, but I don't even think, didn't people just do a story that like nowhere in the country can you pay rent?
But that's been that way
off working full time as a minimum wage employee.
That's been that way for a long time, but they don't fucking care. They don't care until it hits them where it hurts, which is in the pocketbooks, and that's the only way you get anything done. And that's why they're cutting off unemployment insurance for some people, because they want to make them go back to the shitty jobs. Instead of fucking making people pay more, they want to make it okay for people to work for less, because capitalism.
America, fuck yeah.
I'm not finished though. With the responsibility of certain podcasters to fucking get up there on their fucking high horse when it's more important than your little group fucking get insulted. Okay? Because we've had a lot of, I'm sorry, you do a whole monologue about how an article says your little group of atheists, your atheists are bad people, but no, we're not bad people. We're in the highest percentile and it's almost like a script, because I saw this somewhere else. I saw the exact same argument being made. well, if you look at polls, atheists are the most, the most progressive of all groups, and blah blah blah. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
I
What the
think
fuck
the
does that have to do with me?
worst thing that could be told to someone who's like new to being atheist is like, you are smarter, you are better. Like that's the whole like Republican thing. Like you're better than these immigrants. You're better than these people who have skin color darker than you. To just assume that we're automatically better because we came up with one answer, which, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I'd say it is right.
It's religion. You
I
have
mean,
to
religion's
do that
bad,
shit.
but we're
They
still
say
human beings.
because you are saved, you are better, right? And they don't want to say, they don't frame it like that. They're like, well, I'm saved, so I don't have to worry. I can fucking kill your mother, and as long as I pray about it, it's fine. Whatever. But it's the same concept, man. It's somehow setting you apart off the top, instead of acknowledging from the beginning that we have faults, right? Somehow, coming from the assumption that you already are good, and then just kind of fudging the numbers to make it look good, to make it look right. It's bullshit. And I'm gonna need these fucking atheist podcasters who have the atheist literally in their goddamn podcast name to fucking come up, kind of get a little more forward on the social justice shit, or admit that you ain't that concerned about it, and that all your shit, all your little baby steps towards any sort of justice is nothing but hopefully that you'll get some sort of you won't lose any patron of the other patrons, that are of that mindset. But that's me. And you are at 47. I know you said you wanted to.
Yeah, the thing is, like at the last Reason Con, there wasn't an attempt by these podcasters to like try to talk about atheism. They were promoting their new show that I stopped listening to after about 3 episodes because all they did is like laugh at each other's jokes. And it was just more of them laughing at each other's jokes. And you know what? A lot of people like that, and that's totally fine. And I think it gets a lot of people going. I think it's a good thing. I mean, you got to find your shows. I still like listening to fantasy football shows, and that's really a worthless pursuit overall. But yeah, you just have to have what you're into.
That's not that bad.
You have to be like, this Dune movie better be good, or else what point is there going to be going forward, right?
Bruh. Let me tell
What do
you
you get? Like 4 months till that? That's a long way, man. You gonna be
Doesn't
okay?
matter.
Can you
I am
make
already
it?
in line. I'm in line now. Okay, I'm already like.
You going to one of those IMAX deals?
I don't know about IMAX. That's a lot.
Or are you just gonna do one of those? We won't talk about how you get your shows.
No. I'll actually be paying for this one, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay. On the opening night and probably the midnight show, whatever the fuck, I'll be there. Trust me on that. You ain't gotta worry about that.
But will this do well, and will there be a Dune Messiah movie?
Okay,
Since I just read that book, somehow I got through it.
Because that's not really, that shouldn't have been a separate book, but that's a whole nother issue. That should have been part of the first one.
Yeah, we could probably do hours of you just talking about Dune,
You don't. I don't think anybody wants that.
I mean, last night I talked for 15 minutes about me rereading the 2001 book series, and now I'm rereading the Rama series by Arthur C. Clarke. So,
I started that one, the Rama.
And it got a lot better when he actually found like a writer who could actually write characters. I don't think he's that good at that part.
Not sci-fi writers generally.
The science part, pretty good, although it's got to be tough because you're writing about like stuff that happens in the future, and somehow like 200 years from now there's still like television stations and cassette tapes, and it's like, come on, guy.
Yeah, I mean,
but the way technology zoomed through 100 years, it's tough.
It's hard to. That's why, like in Dune, you try to be fucking as general as you can be as far as technology. You try not to concentrate on technology as much because otherwise it's going to make it look anachronistic. You know.
Well, I mean, Dune's supposed to be what, hundreds of thousands of years in the future. I mean, it's not like
Yeah, but I'm saying
the Rama stuff's like that's 100, 200 years from now. It's pretty, it's like fairly reasonable. It seems like Dune is like they don't even know what Earth is. It's so long ago.
They know what it is. They just it's a reserve now. It's like a wildlife reserve or some shit, which is probably better anyway. But.
Just for cats, right?
I'm not seeing a problem. It was always theirs anyway. I'm not really seeing an issue there. So I guess I'll go ahead and wrap this up with you because I know you've got stuff to do. But here's what I'm gonna say. We're gonna do a summary. I'm gonna do a summary, a quick, conclusion. To me, this is completely spot on. People like Hector Garcia, I just commented on this post, wants to act like this kind of this merging with maybe it's not the far right, I don't know, but this merging with kind of the reactionary right at the very least. These are the same people who are in the southern state government who's trying to put the limits on trans athletes or whatever, and of course this affects people. It's a dog whistle, and it's basically putting people into danger. And these privileged white fucks don't care because they want to make some money off of it. That's my opinion. And these atheist podcasters need to be more vocally against this kind of shit, in my eyes.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying. And then more people need to listen to this show, and more. See, in order to counterbalance it, you don't get rid of the white people. You get more. You fight with better white people. Right?
Better white people.
So we're the better white people.
Where are they? Are they somewhere else?
White people.
Are they coming in soon? Because we need them.
We're the better white people. Come listen to better white people. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Zach, did you?
I'm not better.
Well, you're marginally better. I'm not going to give you a whole better, but I'm going to give you marginally better. But did you do a show yet? Or did you did a show yesterday, didn't you?
I did a complete ramble yesterday about really exciting stuff like jury duty. The problem with doing an interview show is you have to ask people to do interviews, and I haven't done that in a while. So I just did a totally off the cuff, 45-minute just me talking in the dark, which was actually not too bad.
Sounds like my Friday night.
But I'm hoping to get back to having guests on. I mean, there are plenty of good people to talk to. There are plenty of people that we probably don't want to talk to anymore. But you know what? There's a lot of other people to take their place. A lot of good content creators, please.
You down and laughed at you. A man's name that rhymes with small. I don't know.
Oh,
the guy from back in the day.
Chronify me.
Yeah, that guy. Let's just say I'm not really.
That was a few months ago.
That's hurtful.
You know what? I think some people smartly realized that the atheist thing was not for them, and he found that out quick. And, that's a smart way to go.
But you were never.
I mean, talking maybe shit all the way out the door and doing a weird version of Night Vale, which I never got why people thought that show was good, but then doing a really not good version of that as an excuse to attack the atheist community. Yeah, that was fun.
That's petty.
Remember Atheist Apocalypse? God, that was fun. It was so good because I had all the people on who were the voice actors that he brought on and did not pay at all, and then he basically fired them all and hired real voice actor people. And it wasn't. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's trying to do something different.
He's got books now.
Yeah, he's an author now. It's great.
He's an author. So
I mean, I there are times when I want to connect with people who have totally moved on from the community, but I can see some people are just are done.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Or they're done with it and then they'll talk to somebody else. That's okay too. That's fine. It happens.
You're so kind.
I'm just impressed that some people do want to talk to me because it's like, oh, cool. So we'll go with that.
Look, you've taken self-effacement to an art. I was going to tell you right now. However, I'm going to need you to leave a little for me because self-effacement. See, Tony from God Chat with God and Tony, who he's got to go. You need to go check out his fucking. He's got a new a shop with. He's got a shower curtain. He has a shower curtain. On
Who couldn't use a shower curtain?
I mean, a shower curtain. Come on, go buy a shower curtain or whatever. I think I've shared his Patreon and his all that stuff, but he also does the self-effacing thing, and there's only so much to go around. So that's all I'm saying. Just trying to. You need to have him on now again. See,
You just did it.
Yeah, but he was on. Well, that's right. I forget. There's the melding and the. Or I could.
Hey, you just got a second vaccine in Australia, which they're a little behind us.
Well, that's true. But I gave blood last night. Did I tell you all that? I gave 2 pints, and I'm drinking for the second night in a row, and I probably shouldn't be doing that. And I may be a little less coherent than I normally am, so I apologize.
I believe in you. Well, the good thing is we won't be drinking because that's not what we do.
Oh, what? Girl. Okay, so obviously it's time for me to go. Zach, thanks for coming on once again and being my shoddy or whatever. Why is there whistling?
Cops.
Sorry. I got scared there from. Oh, I'm white.
Am I the Duncan Idaho of this show or what? Ooh.
Oh. You know he starts out that movie in a beard. So I saw that I'm like, the lady's gonna get a little excited beforehand, so maybe a little tease. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Assuming nothing crazy happens. And thanks for coming on. And you better bring one of those peanut butter, whatever the fuck cup things you got.
Peanut butter IPA is coming right up.
You sure? Those 3 words do not belong.
If I want to end our friendship, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring a stout, but I'm gonna pour the stout out and put IPA in there, and that's gonna be the sign. So sorry, it's over. I've moved on. The anti-wokeists have paid me off, and I have to turn on you to do it.
It's like some Greek.
$10 is all it would take, people. Just $10, but no one will pay. No one will pay.
Get the fuck off my show, Zach. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. But where's the thing where I end the thing? Okay.
Where's the thing where I end the thing?
Shit. Whew, okay. Until next time, y'all take it easy now, I guess.